Today we've got a bit of an annoying problem to fix on my 2003 Saab 9.3 behind me. I also have a big house update I want to show you all. And then lastly, we have to get one of the cars ready for our Saab Club Verizon meet. We've got a lot to do. Let's get started. So first off, a lot of you sounded interested in wanting to see updates on the house that we recently moved into earlier this year. I'll put the video up in the corner where I did this garage setup. However, this past week we got some pretty major work done to it, so I'll show you all that after we fix this issue with the 9.3. So let me show you what's going on. And to do that, I need to take off this engine cover. So in a recent video, when I went to the junkyard, did some junkyard exploring and checked out some, got some parts I needed, I replaced a few parts under here, as you might recall. I'll link that video in the top corner. And that has allowed me to reinstall my engine cover now that I have the ECU relocation kit down here. I guess that's another video I can link in the top corner for you guys. Now, sadly, as part of that work, I actually broke a part on this car. So this is a 2003 9.3. For those of you who are not familiar, the 2003 and then also the late model year 9.3s had a system called secondary air injection. It is essentially a system that only runs on cold starts. It's for emissions purposes, essentially. It's kind of a useless feature in my opinion. It is ultimately a very common failure point on these cars. So for example, there's a secondary air injection pump hidden down in there, kind of by the oil filter, and then there's a few lines that run all around the engine bay. And so I actually had this tuned out by map tune, which essentially means the system is just removed as far as the ECU is concerned. So that means that when I turn the car on now, the secondary air does not work at all because the car doesn't think it's there. So that does not mean that I physically remove the system, as you can see. However, in doing this work a couple weeks back, I unfortunately broke this line. So there's this hard plastic line that runs from the secondary air pump, which does plug in right down there. This line kind of does a 180 right under this here, and that's where it plugs in, and then it runs over here up to the air box. And so as I was messing with all this, I just pulled on this line a little bit too much and it snapped in half. So because the system's not doing anything, just duct taping it back together worked well. However, I didn't want to do that long term, so what I did long term, or for a long-term solution, is I bought a couple of these silicone caps on Saab parts. So these are meant for this port right here. However, both ports are the same size to my knowledge. So what we're essentially going to do is remove this line and hopefully install both these silicone plugs to just delete that mess. So we're not fully deleting the system, but we're just deleting the line since it broke. And it's always bothered me. So despite the system not being in use, I'd like to avoid breaking this line further. So I'm going to do my best to not break it further. We're also going to see if I can do this without having to remove a bunch of mess here. So we'll start by just squeeze that, and that kind of pops right off. And then you have the same exact fitting. It's just impossible to get on camera, but it's down over in here. And there we go. That is released. So there's absolutely no way I'm going to get this off. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is take off this hose, take off this little bracket that we recently installed, and go from there. So I'm going to also disconnect this little valve here because that gives me some more room, and now you can see that line a lot better. Oh, there we go. There we go. Here's a good shot at the line, so I kind of have it upside down. It sits in the car just like this, so as you can see, there's the 180 I was talking about earlier. You can see this side had the same fitting as this side. Two plugs. There's one. It fits in there nice and snug. And the second one, again, hard to get on camera, but now that that line is out, you can see a lot better. It's just a port facing this way, about halfway down. So here's what we've got going on, the one plug right there in the air box. And then down in here, you can see that second plug. All right, let's put it all back together. The next part of the video takes me to our backyard because I want to show you all what we had done. Now before I pan over, our backyard for reference when we moved in looked like this. It was just a giant dirt patch with a random hill, a pool that was poorly filled in, some cut down mature tree stumps and some other things. And now that we have the puppy, we decided it was time to invest the money into our backyard. So if he'll let me grab the ball, I'm going to throw the paw and pan over to the yard. Here you go. Look at that. So we got a good bit of pavers put in here, so we now have a path between our side gates, our existing patio, and the shed. Then a nice little almost kind of patio or porch in front of the shed as well. So we got these red rocks put down. Our backyard is about 4,000 square feet, so it's about 31 tons of just this rock. Around the perimeter of the house, we did 2 feet worth of river rock, as you can see continuing there. That's because we don't have gutters on the house. So when it rains, the water just comes off and kind of made a line in the dirt, which was kind of annoying. So of course we also got some turf put in, about 800 square feet of turf. The nice thing about this turf is because of it having a white back, it actually won't get very hot. So it's about 85 today, and the turf is probably about the same temperature as my hand. So this will still be usable in the summer, which is great. And on top of that, we didn't go with the very fake green looking turf. This turf actually has some little dead grass pieces or dead grass looking pieces in it. So you can see when you look at it, I mean, you can tell it's turf, but I think it looks pretty good. And this guy just has an obsession with eating little sticks or whatever he can find in his mouth. Ollie, bud. Look at him, he just dropped it. Freaking goof. So on top of that, we also got a 12 by 12 144 square foot patio put in here. So this is going to be great for when we host people, just have a space to sit out here, or when the weather's nice, sit out here, just eat, or just, turn the backyard into more of an amenity, whereas before it was just an eyesore that I absolutely hated. So we're very happy with how this turned out. The dog, of course, is loving it too. And then we got room in the future to add some plants or other things in this pretty big side yard as well. So we'll probably do some more landscaping, like I said, at some point. We also hung up some string lights, which, by the way, guys, little life hack. If you don't have string lights in your backyard, you can do this for this is 60 feet of light, plus all the clips to hang it up, plus the extension cords and switches, probably like $120. Took us about an hour to do. Best $100 or so you could spend on your backyard. It totally transforms it. I'll put a picture of what it looks like in the evening. So we need to wash the NG900 because I'm actually going to be having my dad take that to our annual meet, which you've probably already seen the video on. I'll link that video up in the top corner because it'll be going live before this one. But let's go get that thing washed and vacuumed, because truthfully, it has not been washed since the day I bought it, which is a little bit sad. It's been about 4 months since then. Boom, transition point.
I've always had a way of keeping close. Beating, hiding, I've been calling out your name from the darkness, thinking it's too late. If you're finding I've been too much on your plate, I'll keep hiding, calling out your name, calling out your name.
Feels good to have this car clean. It is certainly not a 10 out of 10 vehicle. It is definitely a 10 footer, but cleans up pretty nice for a car that's almost 30 years old. While I'm on the topic of it, I do have more work coming for it soon. Still a big box of parts that I'm just slowly kind of working my way through in the list of what bothers me the most to what bothers me the least and what needs to be done the most to the least. It'll feel good to lend this car to my dad for the annual meet, because if y'all might remember way back in the day, actually the first video I ever filmed was in a car very similar to this, which was my dad's car that he bought new. It was a 1996 900S, so it was a 2.3 NA with a 5-speed manual. It was a 5-door as opposed to a 3-door, but I kind of look at this as just a more sportier, fun version of that car. But it reminds me of it in so many ways. So I'm hoping that he'll think of it the same way and really enjoy it. Let me know if y'all want to see some more house updates. Of course, that was a pretty significant one with the backyard update. We're very happy with how it turned out, of course. But thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you all very soon with another episode.